So I was stating that under interpretation, checking for errors, the primary task. If there is no any error under the compilation, okay, compilation is what? Checking for errors. If there is no any error, converts that code into source code to object code. That is called interpretation. To compilation, comma, execution. It is called compilation execution. Two tasks will be done under the interpretation. Two tasks. Under the compilation, checks for errors. If there is no any error, converts the code into machine language. That is the compilation task. Compilation, checking for errors. So, checking for errors. Next, compilation. Converts the code into object code. Under the compilation, what happened here? Compilation means checking for errors and converts the code, source code into object code. Okay. That is under compilation. Next task is called execution or running of code. Execution or running of code. Execution, running of code. Both are same. Execution means that object code which is 0, 1 that is to be fed to microprocessor. So, and the microprocessor will give the result so that the human can understand. So here, if fruit is equal, it is a variable created here to store string type of data. Okay. Now this is a string data type. Okay. So this string is stored in a variable fruit. This data stored in this memory location string type of data stored in this memory location see what happened here. This is the memory location. So at this memory location, this string type of data stored in this memory location, that memory location is labeled with a name fruit. And whenever I have used this print function ID of fruit, so this memory location mentioned here, under this memory location, this string type of data stored ID function I have used. So for loop, under the for loop, I is an indexing variable here. I is called indexing variable. What do you mean by indexing variable? It is a variable. I is a variable. Okay. Means suppose I 0. Understood that? This is a variable. Means it holds initially nothing. Assume that 0. That what happens? Indexing what? Every character has a position. 0. 0 is the V character position. 1. 1 is the position of A. 2 is the position of S. 3 is the position of. These are called indexes. Indexes are nothing but they are the positions of every character. The first character will be started with the indexing of 0. Okay. Next, 1, 2, 3. This is called positive side indexing. Negative indexing, we can indexing the characters from back side also. So that will be later, I will explain. Okay. So as per this indexing, so initially 0. So I have no need to mention in Python, but Java we need to mention I. Okay. Here, this indexing variable initial value means it is not to be initialized. I is not to be initialized. Means initialize means what? Who will explain initialization? Who will explain initialization? What is initialization? Pranay, what is initialization? I told you in the previous classes what is initialization. Initial.
ఇనిషియలైజేషన్ అంటే మనం ఆబ్జెక్ట్ తీసుకుంటాం కదా సార్, ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ని కాల్ చేస్తాం కదా సార్. ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ని కాల్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు మనం పారామీటర్స్ తీసుకుంటాం సార్. పారామీటర్స్ ని ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లో తీసుకోవడానికి ఈజీగా ఉండడం వల్ల మనం ఇనిషియలైజేషన్ తీసుకుంటాం సార్.
Initialize means to set up any variable. Okay. To set up a value. So initially 0, but this is no need to mention in Python. This indexing variable, Python interpreter understood that it initially it is set up to 0. Okay. Initially, so for I is equal to 0, I is equal to, it assumes that 0. So in fruit, print fruit. So whenever I is equal to 0, print fruit. Print fruit means what? It print fruit is Vasu. It prints only Vasu. Print fruit means it prints this data type. But I want to get what? I want to get the positions. This is called what? How many times Vasu printed here? How many times? How many times Vasu printed here?
సార్
How many times? How many times Vasu printed here? Why 4 times? Because see, whenever I is equal to 0, initially you need not to mention it. Understood that initially I is equal to 0. It understood that. So at that 0 time, it prints fruit. Fruit has whatever the data type it prints. Okay. Understood that. If here this fruit has a number, this much of number. Otherwise, something like what? This number is here. So whenever you run this code, it prints y. Why? Why? Because see, in programming, everything is an object. In Python, everything is an object. It may be data type, any string, any integer, any float. They will be considered as objects. Understood that? Object never be iterable. I told you that iteration means what, you know? Iteration. Iteration means what? I told you that iteration. Just I have briefed. Iteration means go through, travel through. So loop cannot go through integer. Okay. So loop can go through only string and range function. Loop For loop iterates only through string, comma, range, comma, list. Okay. Data structures. Python data structures are what? Lists, comma, tuple, comma. Python data structures are what? Lists, tuple, set, comma, dictionary. Okay. So I have a little bit doubt. I need to refer that whether for loop will iterate through tuple, list iterates through list. A tuple, whether it is iterable or not, I need to check back that. Okay. Tuple set, dictionary iterable. Okay. So never, don't write any integer. So loop will not iterate through. Loop will not iterate through. It iterates only string. String can be mentioned in double quotation mark and single quote, doesn't matter. Now when you write syntax error, invalid syntax. Where is invalid syntax? In which line? Only string range. So because I have written, this is what? This is a statement. You keep comments here. Now, how many times? 4 times you are getting. Because whenever for loop, how it would, when initially I 0, in fruit data type string, every time whenever I is 0, it prints fruit value data type string, and then loop, this will be incremented to now I is equal to what? 1. So whenever I equal to 1, again it takes print. So one more time also, and then I will be incremented to 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 means 2. Here internally 2 tasks will be done. One is that incrementation, 2 tasks. One with that incrementation, comma, print. Every time indexing variable incremented to 1. Initially 0 plus 1, incremented 1. 1 plus 1, 2. So every time it is incremented, it prints. So whenever it is incremented 3, it is 1 plus 1, 3. So initially 0 it printed Vasu, and whenever it is incremented to 1 prints Vasu, it increments to 1, and that will be 2 prints Vatu, and whenever it increments to 3 print Vasu. Whenever it is incremented to 4, that moment what happened? That moment it takes the index value. Okay, every time 0, one time it is 0, prints. Whenever 4 is there, that moment it will not print. It will not print. Understood that? Only you will get. So see, here one more character is there, Vasu. Vasu. Okay. So that moment it prints one more time. How many times here? 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That moment here index is what? It takes the length of this index. Okay. So initially, how many internally for this for loop for Java? Java mein we write initially I is equal to 0. We need to set up initialize the I value. Then condition, one condition, I less than or equal to less than or equal to. Okay. Less than or equal to. So this is called condition. Suppose 5 and incrementation I plus plus. In Java, we need to write So I to be initialized and a condition to be set up. So condition loop to be rotated until condition is not satisfied. Until the condition is satisfied, loop iterates and incrementation. So in Python, no need to set up I value, no condition is to be written, no incrementation. Inbuilt, everything will be done. You don't know it. Actually, that is the ease of Python. The code is very easy in Python. Otherwise, in Java, if you want to write the Java, okay, you need to write the code like I to be initialized, condition to be set up, incrementation. In Python, no need. So every time I'm getting printing of how many times? 5 times. Because the index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 0 to 4, 5 times. So 5 times. But if I want to get the characters, so indexing, I need to mention here I. Okay. Print fruit I. So that characters will be printed one by one. String indices must be integers, not string. What is that? Fruit for I in fruit, 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 print fruit. What happened here? Type error, string indices must be integers. Okay, integers, not string. So print fruit. Print understood that. So now, so that moment what happened, you need to find out the error. If you write fruit inside of this everywhere. So now that moment what happened, try to understand here. So it is giving string indices must be integers, not string. What are the string integers? So indices is what? It is the plural number for index. Plural number for index. Okay. Singular number is index, plural number indices. String indices. What are the string indices here? These are the indexes means plural number. Must be integers, not string. So here we are requesting for fruit, print fruit. What? Every character I want to get. Every character. So at I is equal to 0, that character I want to print. Whenever I is equal to 0, indexing, at that time, whatever the character is that I want to get print. So that moment, that I is equal to 0, when you want to get the indexing, but not index. Okay. So remove this as just print that I value. Okay, whatever the I value that will be printed here. Okay. This is called Vasuke. Now, if you want to keep somewhat string in just before this, okay, characters. Characters. That is what was okay. So for loop, what it does, as I told you, that you need not to initialize the for loop. No need to write any condition. No incrementation is required. It is very, that is the very, that is called easy. Okay, whenever you study Python features, so it is very easy to write the code Python in simple language. So for loop, next, as I told you, that for loop can be iterate through string, range, okay, range, list, tuple, set, dictionary, like that. Okay, for loop. Okay. So next is what? List is what? List is what? One list is that list always mentioned in some integer data, float, some float data, okay, some string, okay, next some complex number, some boolean values. Now this list is, any list is a variable. It can hold multiple values. It doesn't mean you can store all integers. You can store all float numbers. You can store all integers, all strings, all complex number, all boolean values, mixed values. Now it is a list. List is a variable. It is one type of data structure in Python to store many values. To store multiple values, many values. But see, generally what happened? So how do you know that this is a list? Simply you write print bracket type bracket, that is list. If you write like this, you can simply you can get, this is what a list. This is what a list. Because whenever you keep these square brackets, the Python simply understand that all these values kept in a list. If you keep, if you don't want to keep anything here, it will simply understand that as a tuple. As what? It is a tuple. Generally, tuple will be represented in square brackets. Square brackets. Sorry, flower. This is what brackets, parentheses. Generally, tuple will be represented in brackets. It is not compulsory. Generally, if you write, if you store multiple values, many values in a variable, Python interpreter generally simply understood that it is a tuple. Okay. So whenever you kept these values in flower braces, so it understood that it is a set. It is what? Set. It is a set. Understood that. So now under the for loop, okay. So this list to be written before this loop. Okay. We can copy this one like, okay, paste, and this for loop again, if you want to copy this one, okay, before this, after this list, because list iterates through for I in, we need to simply change list and print what? Print list for I in list. I iterates in list every value, every value. Okay, now run this code. What happened? So it is printing what? So what it is printing? Every time it is printing the list. How many times it has printed the list? How many times? List. Okay. How many times it is printing? 1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
5 times. But 1, 5 times. It has printed 5 times. Okay. Why? But we need to focus one thing is that here they are not ordered. So because set is not ordered in the set, values are not ordered. Okay. So this point, whenever you study about the sets, okay, this is not set. Okay, simply you write this as set. Okay. Set. So how many times? Set. Okay. Okay. Now set is called. Okay. Now set. So within this, what happened? For loop iterates through data structure. Okay. So next is what? Range. Okay. So for loop, how for loop? For I in range, range is a function to mention what some numbers 1 to 20. So print I. So what happened here? Now for loop rotates through this range from 1 to 20, but it prints up to 1 to 19 numbers. Okay, 1 to 19 numbers. So it takes from 1. Okay, because you have mentioned the starting number. Then after last 19 will be printed. So we can say that this is for loop. It iterates through the range function. This is what your while loop. So what happened while loop? While. Okay. I less than equal to 5. What is this condition? What is this condition? While I less than or equal to 5, print I. Okay. Then break. So what happened here? Initially, we need to mention the I value here. I is equal to. In Python, at the time of while loop, we need to initialize the I value. But in for loop, no need to initialize the I value. I have set up the value of I is initialized 0. Condition I have written while I less than or equal to 5. Whenever I equal to 5, also it prints I. Whenever I equal to 6, so terminates. Let us see what happened here. What happened? Nothing is printed here. Okay. So remove this break. Let us see. So what happened here? Loop is not terminated. Loop is not terminated. So break. So now stop this code, run this one. Syntax set, break outside of loop. Break outside of loop. Indentation error. Break what is this error? Syntax error. Invalid syntax. So as a programmer, if you are, see, as a programmer, so that moment, what you need to do, anybody can give the answer. That moment, if you are getting any trouble, suppose you are a lecturer in an engineering college, that moment you are teaching the subject and different language you are teaching at a time, C, C++, Java, Python, front end, back end, you are teaching that moment. So how to get the help, and don't waste your time if you are getting in syntax any problem. So generally you need to do what? Huh? You need to get what? No any answer? Who will give the answer? Suppose if you are writing code and at that moment you are teaching many topics at the same time, so that moment how to sort out that if any problem is there, how can you sort out? Okay,
ఆల్గోరిథం యూస్ చేసుకొని మనం షార్ట్ అవుట్ చేసుకుంటాం సార్.
either you need to refer. Okay, you need to refer. Okay, here in Python I plus plus incrementation to be given, otherwise incrementation, so it is giving error, so incrementation to be given from the starting. Okay, so now this code will be executed, but it is not being executed. Why? Because why it is not being executed? Why is not being? This is called, this type of incrementation will be used in where?
i+1 సార్.
That's why. So it is this type of code will be used in Java. So I to be incremented where I is equal to I plus 1. Okay. So before that, whatever I have used, that I plus plus, that is part of your Java. So at that same time, if you are teaching many topics and there may be confusion somewhat syntax, that moment nothing to worry and don't waste your time. Okay, and refer yourself. You know that. Okay, now run this code. So what happened? I am getting 0 to 1 2 3 4 5. So means what happened here? Until the condition here in Python, what is the difference between Python and while loop? We need to mention the condition, we need to initialize the I value. If I don't want to initialize, it give error. What is this? I'm not getting anything here. Okay, for loop executed here. So while loop not executed. So if I remove this, means if I is initialized, so you will get all the numbers one by one until the condition is whenever I equal to or less than. If I remove that equal to less than, so you will get up to only 4 only. Why? Because I less than 5. Whenever I equal to 5, 5 is not less than 5, 5 equal to 5, that moment only 4 will be printed. Means every time loop goes and takes I is equal to 0 and 0 is less than 5, so 0 will be printed, and this is incremented to 0 plus 1, because I next statement is I is equal to I plus 1, I is equal to 0, 0 plus 1, 1. Now I is equal to 1. So when I is equal to 1, I 1 is less than 5, so print 1, and I incremented to 1, 1 plus 1, 2. Now I is equal to 2, I is equal to 2 less than 5, so print 2, I. Next, I incremented 2 plus 1, 3. Now I is equal to 3, 3 is less than 5, so print I is equal to 3, 3 will be printed, and 3, now I is equal to 3 plus 1, 4. The 4, I is equal to 4, 4 less than 5, 4 will be printed, 4 plus 1. Now I is equal to 5, 5 is not 5 less than 5, condition not satisfied. 5 equal to 5. Understood that? My dear, where is that boy, Pranay? Pranay, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
so like that, see, so as a programmer, you may get somewhere you stuck. Stuck? What do you mean of stuck? Stuck until you will not get idea why you are writing, because you are studying computer sciences. So many topics you will study programming one side, and another time somewhere theoretical the computer architecture, microcontroller, microprocessors, instruction set of 8085 and data structures and algorithms, and same time you are understanding the relational database management, RDBMS, SQL. Okay, same certain time you are studying front end like HTML, CSS. So maybe somewhat confusion in writing. Understood that? Confusion means maybe you get somewhere you struck and you will not get any idea. At the moment you need to refer your material. Okay, refer that material and write the code. In the previous class, I told you that to generate algorithm, that is very important. Huh? What is algorithm? I told you that. Okay. So I hope this class is enough. Tomorrow is Monday. So we will meet on today is Monday, Saturday.
No, sir, Saturday.
Okay. Tomorrow also we will meet on Sunday. Okay. My classes will be conducted on every week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 8 p.m. in Zoom classes, in Zoom, okay, platform. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If I am busy somewhere else, I will mention you, intimate you that I am busy somewhere else, okay, in personal reasons, maybe whatever. So otherwise, without any failure, classes will be conducted, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, thrice of a week at sharply at 8 p.m. My number is 9110398650. These all classes are free classes. I am conducting all these classes under my foundation, Lakshmi Narayana Krishna Foundation. Okay. From Sarverettipalayam, Ongole. Okay. In Prakasam district, Andhra Pradesh, India. So whomever is very desirous to attend my classes, they can throughout the world, whomever seeing my videos in YouTube and somewhere else in Facebook, Twitter, everywhere I posted about my classes, and these are very free classes. My intention is to connect with the rural students, whomever residing, especially in rural areas, and they are totally aware of the network facilities, and they are totally somewhere they are very poor to afford the classes. They are very expensive classes. Generally, in some cities, these are some expensive, so that the students of rural area, they can connect to my classes through Zoom, and they can enhance their programming skills and the English also, because my intention is to support the enhance the English speaking skills, so that most of the MNC multinational companies they are expecting that the students they will be able to speak in the English. So that's why in the classes, by teaching every word, every sentence in English, so that they will be able to improve their English speaking skills. Okay, have a nice day. Okay, Jai Hind. Jai Hind. Okay.